My bucket list items. I've always wanted to go to the U.S. Open. And there's a friend of mine, his name is Richard Morris. And I said, Richard, can you hook me up with some tickets for the U.S. Open? And he said, sure. He says, do you know where the Marriott Marquis is in downtown New York? I said, yes, I do. In fact, as a matter of fact, that's where I got my CSP, my Certified Speaking Professional Status from the National Speakers Association in 2008. He said, well, I want you to go to that hotel. He says, I want you to go out the front entrance. I want you to make a right-hand turn. On the corner of the Marriott Marquis, on the right-hand side, is a guy by the name of Smokey. He's a 6'6" black man. Just walk up to him and tell him, I sent you. I said, well, does Smokey have a phone? And he gave me his phone number, and I called up Smokey. And I said, Smokey, I'm here in New York. I decided at the last minute I'd like to go to the U.S. Open. And he asked me the following questions. He says, do you want to be on the grounds? Now, if you go to the U.S. Open, you can actually get tickets just for the grounds. They actually have these Jumbotron screens everywhere, so that even if you just buy a ticket for the grounds, you can actually see all the action, and there's plenty of activities that takes place on the grounds. So do you want a ticket on the grounds? Or did you want it at the Louis Armstrong Stadium or the Arthur Ashe Stadium? And if you choose one of the stadiums, do you want to be the nosebleed section or do you want to be courtside? I said, I don't know. It all depends on how much it costs. He says, I'll get back to you. About 45 minutes later, I received another phone call. I said, hello? And the guy said, Smokey sent me. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. He said, that's on a need-to-know basis. And you don't need to know. I understand that you want to get some tickets for the U.S. Open. I said, yes, I do. He asked me the following questions. Do you want to be on the grounds? Do you want Louis Armstrong or Arthur Ashe? Do you want to be in the nosebleed section or do you want to be courtside? I said, I don't know. That depends on how much it costs. He said, I'll get back to you. I received a phone call from a guy by the name of Chris. Chris says the following. He says, from one of my sources tells me that you like some tickets for the U.S. Open. All of a sudden, I feel like I'm in the witness protection program. Sources? Really? And he asked me the same questions. You probably know the routine by now. Do I want to be on the grounds? Do I want to be in? Or do I want to be in? Do I want to be in the nosebleed? Or? I said, I don't know. It depends on how much it costs. By this time, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable, so I decided to buy the tickets online. I buy them from an organization called StubHub.com. And they tell me and my date to make sure that you print out the tickets. Make sure you print out the tickets. So somehow we get distracted. We're on our way to the facility, and we forget to print out our tickets. Now, my date, her name is Connie, and it was her responsibility to print out the tickets. She is completely distraught. She says, oh, I'm so sorry that I forgot to print out the tickets. And by this time, we're 45 minutes away from the hotel. And I said to myself, hon, don't worry about it. It's going to work out. It's going to be okay. Now, here's something you need to know about speakers. We never have bad days. We just have new material. No matter how this worked out, I had a new story. So from my perspective, I was interested to see how this adventure was going to turn out. Anyway, here we are outside the USTA National Tennis Center. I'm getting my bucket list. Now, much to my surprise, when we actually walk up, I was a little bit intimidated and I was a little bit scared because there was a lot of security. There were literally hundreds of New York police officers. There was a National Guard. There were German Shepherds. And they didn't actually allow me to take pictures of the security staff. As a matter of fact, there was a guy from SWAT. He actually had a grenade, a machine gun, and a German Shepherd. And when I went to take his picture, he said, put down the camera. I was so frightened, I actually dropped the camera. And I peed, maybe that much. I'm just keeping it real. When a man with a grenade and a automatic weapon says, put down the camera, you put down the camera. Anyway, I approached the gate, and I asked the woman, with every expectation that she was going to help me out. I said, hey, we forgot to print out our tickets. Here's my proof that we actually ordered the tickets on my phone. Can you help me out? I'm sure there must be a printer on this facility somewhere. And she went to someone else. She went to a supervisor, and they went to the supervisor introduced me to a woman by the name of Allie. And Allie was awesome. And I'll explain in a minute why Allie was so awesome. Here's the outside of the gate. And when we walked in, now keep in mind, we've walked past security, German Shepherds, an SUV that had been reconfigured. It looked like a small tank. Technically, we're not supposed to be in there, but this is the first thing that we see. We see a barefoot man playing a harp. I'm thinking like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is very, very cool. As we're talking, I hear a loud noise in back of me. And all of a sudden, I turn around, and there is Venus Williams, Serena Williams' sister. We're from here to there. And then as I turn over to the right, practicing on this tennis court over here, is my childhood idol, Mr. John McEnroe. Now, if you're left-handed, there were two guys that you loved, Johnny Mack and Jimmy Connors. And I'm saying to myself, this is awesome. Allie, she turns to me. She says, Mr. Tate, while we're waiting and looking for a printer for you, she says, I need to practice my tour guiding skills. Would you like a tour of the U.S. Open facility? My outside voice said, let me think about it. My inside voice said, this is freaking awesome! This is amazing! Woo-hoo! Yes. She gave us a tour of the entire facility. We went to the players' locker rooms. You name it, we went there. It was absolutely amazing. By the way, here's a picture of the grounds. This is an example of one of those jumbotrons that we saw, and they were everywhere. It was a picture-perfect day. Absolutely amazing. Here's a picture of me and a couple of some of the other activities and shenanigans that were going on on the grounds. We actually go to the USTA offices. Now, do you know what a literalist is? Someone who's very literal? When we got there, they were saying that because we had not purchased the tickets from them, they would not allow us to print out our tickets. They were very, very literal. But what did I say about Allie? Allie is? Awesome. Allie is awesome. Awesome. She said, you know what? There's a printer on this facility someplace, and we will find it. She said, Mr. Tate, do you have an American Express card? I said, yes, I do. We'll go over to the American Express building. Now, when I get to American Express, by the way, American Express, I will be a customer of theirs for my entire life. I don't care what fees they charge, I will pay them, because they made this day amazing. The first thing they did is they actually got 5 people, and they spread them out over the campus of the U.S. Open to find us a printer so we can print out our tickets. They said the following. They said, Mr. Tate, while you're waiting, we actually have several tennis pros. Would you like to take a free tennis lesson? My outside voice said, let me think about it. My inside voice said, this is freaking awesome! This is amazing! Woohoo! That'll be fine. And I got a free tennis lesson from a tennis pro. Not only did I get a free tennis lesson, they actually recorded my strokes on video and gave me a copy of the video. Every time I play, I actually watch that video. I live in Colorado, and I just recently entered several tournaments. I'm 17-0 since returning from the U.S. Open. I've won 2 tournaments. Well, they come back and they said, you know, for various reasons, we haven't actually found a printer for you yet. However, one of our colleagues, they possibly might have a printer. So what they did is they actually took me down this place. It felt like an alley. It was actually between Louis Armstrong and Arthur Ashe. I opened up the door. At the end of the door, there was a tall black man. And I said to myself, Smokey? As it turns out, it was an executive from a computer company, and he printed out our tickets. It was an amazing day, ladies and gentlemen. I got to tell you, it was absolutely awesome. Here is Serena. Serena is on this side right here. And one thing that Patricia Fripp said, and you have to, by the way, listen to anything Fripp says, right? Fripp says, always see the best in person. Always see the best in person. For a number of years, I had seen the U.S. Open on television. And this is the first time I got a chance to see Serena in person. And the one thing I never realized, and the thing you cannot pick up on television is A, how competitive she is, and B, how hard she hits the ball. She tries to absolutely crush every single ball. She does not have a soft touch on the ball. She smashes the ball. And you cannot pick that up on television. Absolutely amazing. The other thing I loved was watching Roger. Roger is a master. He's completely unflappable. He's cool under pressure. No matter what's going on, if he's up or down, you can't tell by watching him. He's always cool and calm. And by the way, both Roger and Serena, they won that day. Here is my hero. This is Allie. She's in the middle. And that's Connie on the left side. At the end of the day, I had such a wonderful day. I decided, you know what? I want to tell Allie's boss what she did. So I went to Allie's boss. And I explained to him the entire thing, the entire episode, how she helped us out. And he says, I am so glad that you came to me. You know, we have been struggling to see which employee we were going to name Employee of the Month, and now it's absolutely clear. Wow. And she got a $1,000 bonus. So let's review real quickly, shall we? I entered a heavily armed, secure facility. Technically, I did not have tickets.